Hello and welcome back to the Newbie Dentist Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Omid Azami. After a cool experience that I had yesterday, having the opportunity to be a panelist and participate in the Melbourne Dental School Career Roundtable, which was held via Zoom, and had the opportunity to interact with a lot of dental students who are in their third and final year of dental school, and have the opportunity to hear and answer questions that they had. It got me thinking about the experience that we've been through over the past few years, and everything that I've kind of had the opportunity to learn as a dentist, just working day to day, and two, from the experience and knowledge that I've obtained from interviewing so many amazing dentists on the Newbie Dentist Podcast for the past couple of years. So I figured it might be good to create a little mini series, maybe perhaps once a week, 5-10 minutes, just to tackle different topics of dental school and being a new grad, just to try and answer some of these questions because they did come up multiple times from the different groups of people. So one of the first questions that I wanted to take on today was how to maximize your experience in dental school. So if you're listening to this, obviously I do empathize with the situation that the dental students are in right now because of all the restrictions. They've been out of clinics. They're not getting the normal hands-on experience that they would otherwise get in these, pivotal years where you're building these foundational skills that you can take with you for the rest of your career. So firstly, for the dental students listening who are in this situation in Australia, in Canada, in the US, I think the main thing is just look after yourselves at this point. It is quite stressful. You're paying a lot of tuition. There's a lot of uncertainty. And when there's uncertainty, it does impact your mental health, your well-being. So make sure you look out for each other, reach out to your friends, reach out to your peers. If you're having a bad day, just, talk to someone about it and vent it out. Another thing that I would recommend, because I've been through these types of lulls and not being able to work when I moved back to Australia and I was out of work for about 3-4 months while I waited for my registration and stuff to get processed, is it's quite challenging to be on social media. You're on social media, you're not working, and you're seeing maybe your dental student peers in other parts of the world in clinic and producing work, or you're seeing other dentists working and producing work, and you're at home not doing that. So it's really easy to get that FOMO kind of experience, and that has a big impact on your mental health as well. So my advice would be maybe you consider a social media holiday, just kind of lay off Instagram and those dental Facebook groups for a little bit of time, and just focus on yourself. Get out and get some exercise, connect with friends and family, and use this downtime to maybe even nurture a hobby that you might have that you may have not had time for otherwise. So that's the first advice I would give, is look out for each other, look out for yourselves, and don't get too stressed that you're not getting the clinical experience, because when you zoom out a little bit and when you look at the broader picture, there's a lot of people in the same boat as you and a lot of people who have it worse than you. So I think it's really important to keep that perspective. The second thing that in terms of dental school, when you go back to clinics and if you want to maximize it, I think it's really important to not get lazy. And I say that in a tongue-in-cheek way because I myself found myself getting lazy towards the end. And once your requirements are kind of done and once your case presentations and stuff are ready to go for graduation, I tended to kind of drift off and not take on bigger cases, and because I didn't want to necessarily get into the lab and do the lab work or make my special trays or make my putties. So I kind of got complacent in my learning opportunity. So my advice there is, I know it's hard and you may have other things that you want to study for your boards or you want to do other things, but look for work and stuff. But make sure you don't waste clinical time when you get back to it. And perhaps for you guys listening, since you've been out of clinic for a while, it won't be the case because you really want to maximize it. But even so, make sure you take on big cases. Make sure you keep interacting with your demonstrators and trying to learn as much as you can, because dental school is really a safe and protected environment where you don't have the stress of treatment failures and things like that. So it's a good place to push clinical boundaries with supervision without the stress of bad outcomes, because you can always look after it. There's faculty, there's more senior staff, more senior students that can always help you out. So that's the first thing. The second thing in terms of clinical experiences, when you have downtime, when you have afternoons or mornings that you're not in clinic, it would be a good opportunity to try and reach out to the specialty clinics. So the postgrad students who are in clinic, or even in the community specialists that are working, it might be good to set up times to perhaps go and shadow them, or to spend some time with them and pick their brain about certain topics or cases. You learn a lot from seeing other dentists work, different, because even when you're graduated and you're working by yourself in your own room and you're doing things your way, you tend to fall into a habit of a certain way of doing things. And the more you can go out and see other dentists and other specialists, how they hold the instruments, how they manipulate the materials, how they interact with their patients or with their assistants, you can learn a lot from that actually. So I think that's a great opportunity to not only learn clinical things, but also learn like communication and patient interaction side of things as well. So that's the main two things for dental students listening. One is don't get too down. You'll get through this difficult period of not having clinical time and having this uncertainty about graduation and finding work and all that. Just try and stick together, interact with your friends, and look after yourself. Get out there, exercise, work on your hobbies, and try and do things just to keep yourself occupied, and don't go down the rabbit hole of thinking too much about what's going to happen in the future, because there's a lot of it is out of your control, and stressing about it is not going to do much about it. So practice some stoicism there and try and just control what you can control and try and make the best out of the situation. And secondly, make sure when you're back in clinic, you're hungry, you're driven, and you're not shying away from taking on challenging cases because you either don't want to put in the work outside of clinical time to treatment plan or do the lab work for it, or two, because you don't want to fail and get a bad grade because you got a favorable outcome on a certain procedure. Push and don't be too stressed about the grade side of things. Try and get those big cases done so you can learn, and that will go a long way in trying to help you out. So that's it for the first episode. I hope you guys enjoy this. This was something that I've been meaning to do for a long time, and I'm recording the video as well. So check out the YouTube channel if you want to watch this. I think it'll be a cool thing, and I'll try and get this out once a week, short and sweet, just quick topics that I think I can give back to the dental community. Awesome. Take care, and be sure to check out the other episodes. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube if you're watching, or on podcasts or Spotify if you're listening. And if you have any questions or want to reach out to me, at Newbie Dentist on Instagram is the best way to do so.
Thank you for tuning in for another episode of the Newbie Dentist podcast. Please be sure to subscribe and head over to iTunes and give the show a 5-star rating. For all show notes and to access all previous episodes, head over to www.newbiedentist.com. Have a great day.